Ladies and gentlemen, TrackMania Open Fullspeed 2019 is going into the grand finals. We have 3 German players that managed to qualify through the entirety of this tourney. We have DarkBringer from Germany with no team right now. A big name that you should all be aware of. He has been dominating the Fullspeed scene back in the days in TMNF. Then has been away from the game for quite a while, and now he's back to do some damage here against Dan from Team Venture, who has also been playing the grand final in the last TrackMania Open Fullspeed tournament. SinasAppel, the only non-German player in this lineup from Team Numelops from the Netherlands right here, also on the server. And last but not least, we do have Numelops Hunter, so 2 Numelops players. And Hunter is going to be the last one here in the list from Germany. And he is also going to be here to do some damage. He's the only keyboard player in this matchup. All of the other 3 drivers are playing with a gamepad. And the first map that we're going to see is going to be Ties of Time by Firefox. As per usual, we're playing cup mode, point limit 140, so it's going to be quite a long and enduring match for the players. And the regular point distribution will also be applied with 10, 6, 4 and 3 points for first, second, third and fourth, respectively. Hunter with a 105.332 in the warm-up already. That is a world record. And he just did it in the warm-up, flexing on his opponents, because why the hell not? So absolutely crazy time by Hunter already. And that is looking very, very good for him already. So, we're gonna start. There are no bonus points for the players that come through the winner bracket, so everyone is starting from scratch. And we're starting off with Hunter, making the first mistake here after the world record warm-up. Now he is struggling, and he is gonna be dead last right here, leaving us alone with SinasAppel, DarkBringer, and Dan. For the remaining of this map, we have very, very similar line choices right here. DarkBringer right now with a small advantage. SinasAppel with a very direct, tight entry into that magnet wall, which is going to cost him a little bit of time because he had to steer more than, let's say, DarkBringer, who goes very, very wide. That was not the greatest line right there, and that will allow Dan to close in. We have a neck-and-neck battle between Dan and DarkBringer. DarkBringer losing all of his speed right there in that magnet section, leaving Dan taking over that first place. SinasAppel up to second, and he's also trying to attack the German player right now. SinasAppel with a bit more speed, and he is going to pass Dan now. SinasAppel on first by 0.03 of a second. Dan staying for a little bit longer here on that magnet part, and DarkBringer is also coming closer with a lot more speed. DarkBringer on second, but he might not be able to pass SinasAppel because we have to finish coming up here. It is SinasAppel who takes first, followed by DarkBringer and Dan. What a first round right here in this grand final. Hunter, after the mistake in the beginning, wasn't able to do any sort of damage. He is gonna get away out of this first round with 3 points only. Off the start block we go, and the second round is ongoing. Currently following DarkBringer, who is right now rocking 6 points after his second place on the first round. Goes for the shortest line right here in that right-hander. And we have a neck-and-neck battle between all of these players. We see Hunter going for the widest approach into the turnover. A little bit all over the place here for everyone. Hunter with a bit of speed loss there. That was definitely not very well executed. And also SinasAppel is struggling to keep up with the pace of the other 2 players. DarkBringer right now on first, on second. Dan is the one who's on first right now. And this is going to be very exciting. DarkBringer closing in with a bit more speed. Goes for a much superior SD. Almost hits the wall on the left side. And that was not the greatest exit out of the wall. Had to oversteer quite a bit. But it is still neck and neck going into this next turnover with the magnet block at the top. And it looks like it is going to be Dan who is going to be the victorious driver out of this battle. Dan is going to take it. Solid time, 105.738. DarkBringer on second, and then the 2 Numelops players right behind. 14, 13, 12, and 7 after the 2 first rounds. We have another one. We're going to have 4 rounds per map until we switch to the next one. The map pack of this competition consists of 3 different maps, and we are most likely going to rotate through these 3 maps, most likely twice, until we reach the point limit of 140. It is quite a high point limit. Normally Even in grand finals, you have point limits that usually range until or up to 120. So 140 is quite a lot, which is going to be a long match for all of the players. But that is maybe even better. So let's take a look here at this round. We have all of the players super close to each other. DarkBringer, the only one that goes super wide, and that is definitely not the greatest line. As you can see, the others do pull away because they have a much better line through that wall. And DarkBringer right now only on last place, and Hunter is on a completely different level right now. He is 0.2 ahead of everyone else, and it looks very good for that German player as of now. SinasAppel on P3 right now, unable to make anything happen. He is behind Dan, and I don't see anything happening at the end unless someone is making a mistake. But I do not believe that this is going to happen. Hunter with a 0.4. What is this guy doing? 104.421. And he is gonna let every single one of his opponents eat his dust. That is a massive gap that he was able to play out there. Going into the next round, it is still Dan in the lead with 20 points. SinasAppel and Hunter, the two Numalops players, with 17 points each. And DarkBringer right now on last with 15 points. Another chance at making something happen on Ties of Time. SinasAppel right now, our cameraman, going through this turn over here with very close battles going on right now for that first place. DarkBringer, wow, what an alternative line by DarkBringer, but you clearly see how superior that one was. He started the SD from a lot wider outside and had a very flat and direct line through that wall, and with that he was able to gain more than a whole 10th over the other drivers right now. So DarkBringer on an amazing pace. Neither SinasAppel nor Hunter or Dan are able to keep up with DarkBringer's speed at this point of time right here. Dan trying to overtake Hunter right now, and he is successful at that. But we might see a little change here at the end. Let's see if there's going to be an overtake somewhere in the end, but doesn't look like it. The positions are set in stone, and DarkBringer with a 105.671. Very promising looking time right there, followed by SinasAppel who gets 6 points, Dan with 4, and Hunter with 3 points. And that is going to conclude our first map right here. The second one, a map by Brad Armpit. Here is where Dan right now has the fastest time in the local records, 106.438 right now, the fastest time by him. And we're gonna enter this map with the following score. 25 for DarkBringer. After being last for a short period of time, he is now back to first with 25. 1 point ahead of Dan. Dan 1 point himself ahead of SinasAppel, who is there with 23, and Hunter with 20 points. The world record holder of the previous map wasn't able to dominate as much as he did in one of the previous matches that I've been casting here for the TrackMania Open Fullspeed tournament. Hunter has been completely annihilating his opponents in the previous matches, allowing him to easily qualify for this grand final. But now, of course, here in the grand final, here is where all of the madmen meet for the ultimate fight for the crown in this competition. And right now, it looks like we have a very easy battle between all of these drivers. No one's really letting each other a chance. So very fair battle right now, which is really nice. Only 5 points, tearing all 4 players apart. This map a little different in its style. The beginning is failable. It's a bit more difficult than the beginning of the previous map, at least by the looks of it. And Hunter already clocking in a moderately good time in the warm-up, 106.473. That already looks pretty good. So here's the end of the warm-up, and we're gonna begin our first round. So here you have instantly the speed boost that brings you up to the pace. So gotta be prepared for the sudden speed boost that you get. Here you wanna be precise. Hunter going for a small SD right there at the exit. Was able to gather 234 kilometers an hour more, and with that is able to pass Dan. SinasAppel with an oversteer, and that will allow Hunter to potentially move up to first place right here, and that is indeed what's going to happen. Hunter up to first place, but Dan also having quite a good pace. Where is DarkBringer? He is right now on 4th place, but not too far behind. SinasAppel also struggling to hit this line very well, so DarkBringer will maybe be able to go up to P3 right now. Going through this wall, DarkBringer with a much superior line, but here the entry, a bit wonky, but still okay for both players. But the fight for first place definitely hot and spicy right now. Dan versus Hunter, going up the wall. And I think Dan will have the superior line up the hill. He has more speed. And that is going to be the first place for Dan, who clocks in a 106.80. No, apologies. A 106.55. That is, of course, DarkBringer's local right there. So, DarkBringer on 3rd and SinasAppel on 4th. Not with the greatest pace. He only got last in this round. 34 for Dan, 29 for DarkBringer, and a tie between the two Nomalops players, both with 26 going into the second round of this map. We have two 1v1s. Oh, SinasAppel, he gets the auto slide right there, and he will barely be able to pass that speed check. So another bad round for SinasAppel right here, which is going to cost him a valuable time, and of course also valuable points for the overall scoreboard. Leaving us alone with the 3 Germans. Dan right now on 1st. DarkBringer trying to close in. He has a bit more speed, as you can see. He does close in to Hunter, who is falling back to 3rd place as we speak. DarkBringer, really risky approach, but is able to stabilize as of now. Close fight between these two players here for that 2nd place. Dan, alone in the lead, has accumulated 0.12 of a second of an advantage at the previously passed checkpoint. That is looking pretty good for the Venture player, but the fight for the 2nd place is not decided yet, even though DarkBringer now oversliding at the end of that looping. You saw that he was struggling to keep his car in the line, and that might have been the decisive difference here for P3 and P2. So that will be a great time for Dan as well. Look at that, 106.457. Very nice. And with that, he is able to extend his lead. 44 points now for Dan. He is certainly capitalizing from this map. He is now 11 points ahead of DarkBringer, who is on 2nd place. Nothing is decided yet, though. Let's go into the next round. This time around, everyone is avoiding the auto slide that you can get DarkBringer with the most direct line. He is not opting for the S4D, or SD rather. Something that we've seen Hunter do, and this is a super close pack of players. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is high tier Fullspeed playing right here. Dan on 1st and Hunter pretty much with the equal line. You saw it was pretty much a copy paste right there by Hunter. Very impressive line choice. And DarkBringer is dead. He is actually falling behind, and he might actually have to DNF this round, because I do not think he's going to be able to complete this lap. So that will leave us alone with Dan, Hunter, and SinasAppel. SinasAppel is a bit behind. So it is going to be between Dan and Hunter. I think Hunter has a bit more speed. Let's see. Is he going to go for the overtake here? Coming down to the ending? No. Both opting for a very early finish entry. And great fight, nonetheless. Only 33 milliseconds between Dan and Hunter for first place. And this is really, really good for Dan, because he got 10 points, while Hunter, who is right now 2nd on the scoreboard, has actually gotten a DNF. So Dan, with that round, has extended his lead even further. Alright, here we go with the next round. Hunter opting for a different line. Was trying to go for more speed, and DarkBringer gets the slide right there. That is going to cost him a lot of momentum right here. This is basically going to ruin his round already at this point. So not the greatest round for him again. But that part can be tricky with the auto slide, because you do pull the skid marks behind your car, and every slightest bump that you get, or a bit of an oversteer or bad timing, and you will end up sliding. So that is something that can happen even to the best of us. Speaking of the best of us, we have Hunter, who is on an amazing pace right now. He is 2400s ahead of Dan, who is on P2 right now. SinasAppel on 3rd, and DarkBringer, as I said before, is not going to be able to play any sort of role here in this matchup. The positions look to be set in stone here. Not the most exciting round. We see Hunter clocking in most likely quite a good time. There he goes with another 0.4. This is very, very good here by the keyboard player. The only driver in this round to clock in anything under the 107 mark. That is very impressive And with that, he is going to go up to 48 points, 12 points short to Dan, as we go into the third map right here. A map by Hunter himself, Never-Ending Cycle. This is going to be the third map in the map rotation. And this will leave us the question, will Hunter capitalize on the fact that this is his own map? Or will he just play as it is and handle this like any other map? Because as per usual, when a map of the player is actually played in the competition, you might argue, hey, is this an actual advantage that this mapper is going to have? Because it's his own map and he might theoretically have more practice on it. But yeah, I really don't think so, because everyone has the fair and equal chances to practice as much as he wants. So I think everyone will go into this map on even grounds. But Hunter will sure be a hard nut to crack, even though right now it is Dan who is the winner right now. If the match were to end right now, it is Dan right now on first with 60 points. 12 points ahead of Hunter, SinasAppel with 37 and DarkBringer with 36 points. Maybe this map is going to bode him better, because the previous map wasn't that good for DarkBringer. He wasn't able to bring up a good pace, and he also had DNFs. So the previous map surely could have gone a lot better for German player DarkBringer. But anyhow, this is going to be just another exciting one. About to start the next round after the warm-up timer runs out, which is right about now. And off we go, first out of 4 rounds on this map. And we see Dan with a very good start. He was able to reach the boost really early with a really direct line, and was able to pull away already by more than a whole car length. And that just shows that Dan has practice. He is very well prepared and he knows every tiny detail of this map. Hunter closing in, trying to accumulate a bit more speed with a wider SD. And this line wasn't very well by Dan whatsoever. He is going to lose his first place to Hunter, who is overtaken with a massive speed advantage right there. But where are the others? SinasAppel, 0.3 behind. DarkBringer now has passed Hunter. Dan, apologies. Let's take a look. Right here, it is Dan. Quite big gaps between the players once again. Into the turnover. Another downhill, small SD to the right. Transitioning into the wall. And then the finish. The custom finish right there. And it is Hunter that wins this round with ease. 58.058. Almost half a second ahead of his opponents. Good round for Hunter though. With that, he was able to close in. And now there's only a 6-point gap between Hunter and Dan for that first place. So we we do see a little bit of a gap between Hunter and DarkBringer for second and third. So we have this 1v1 situation on the scoreboard with Dan and Hunter, and DarkBringer and SinasAppel right now seemingly battling it out for that third place, as it looks. But then again, we have a point limit of 140, so a lot can happen. And right now it is looking pretty good for DarkBringer. He is finding himself on P2, going into this wall. And Dan suffering from speed loss. Not sure what exactly happened there, but Dan dropping down to third place. SinasAppel not able to capitalize. He is too far behind. Let's take a look what's going to happen at the front. DarkBringer, he is in dire need of those 10 points. And it does seem like he is going to take them home. We only have a couple seconds left of the track and only one jump into the finish remaining. And DarkBringer will take it 57.971. Fantastic time by the German player. He is going to clock in 10 points that he desperately needs. And with that, he's going to close in the aforementioned gap that we had between P3 and P2. So DarkBringer definitely on a upwards graph right now. But let's see what's going to happen in the next one. Maybe this is going to fuel DarkBringer's motivation and confidence to get more of these good rounds. I think with a time under 58, you are definitely going to be safe for one of those top positions, but this line wasn't very good altogether. DarkBringer oversteering a lot. That was a very bad line by him, dropping down all the way to 4th place. SinasAppel also overtaking him at this point. Hunter is on 2nd, and Dan has gotten away. It seems like he stole everyone else's wallets, and he's now trying to escape. That's what it seems like it at this moment. Dan really escaping from all of the others. 2500s, and with that, he might actually get a really good time. Let's take a look what he's going to clock in at the finish line. One jump remaining, and it's a 57.95. That is very, very quick by Dan. And as I said, times like this are almost a guaranteed first place. So Dan now up to 78. Hunter with 70, DarkBringer 56, and SinasAppel not feeling this map by the looks of it. He doesn't seem to be very confident on this one. Only 4th places for him so far. That is something that we're not used to see from a gamer like SinasAppel. Let's see if this round is going to go any better. Promising looking start for the Dutch player. Is not letting himself get intimidated, but that was a bit too much of an oversteer. SD right there, he was going a bit too tight into it. The skid marks were a bit too wide, and that is gonna let DarkBringer and Dan both pass him. Hunter is on last. Not the greatest beginning for him at this point on his own map. Finding himself on dead last at this point, 2800s behind. DarkBringer now with the overtake on Dan, who both go for some slightly different approaches to get the 2-wheel drop down, but DarkBringer extending his lead further and further, and I hear SinasAppel closing in with a bit more speed, and he's going to go for the overtake maybe as well here on Dan. SinasAppel up to 2nd, and that is exactly what he needs. That is going to be close up until the finish, but Dutch player SinasAppel will stay ahead by just a hair. Dan on 3rd and Hunter on 4th. So the players that are in the back, they are actually getting the big points in this round. DarkBringer and SinasAppel, they are closing in to the top players. Also, Dirt was taken. Thank you for the 14-month resub, man. Thank you so much, dude. So, we're coming back to this track right here. As I said, we have the 3-map pool right here for this competition, and we are going to return for Ties of Time with 82 points for Dan. He is 9 points ahead of Hunter. This is not a lot, ladies and gentlemen. So Hunter can certainly make some damage here on this map. DarkBringer with 66, certainly not out yet. And SinasAppel definitely needs to step in a little bit, because the performance that he's shown on the previous map wasn't that great. This map, however, was good for him, so maybe he's going to be able to make up some of the points that he lost on the previous map. So once again, we have a warm-up for the players to get used to this map again. That is quite common in TrackMania, that you always have a warm-up, regardless of whether you have to play, whether you have played the map or not. And the warm-up is now coming to an end. And we're about to witness the second half of this match right here. And off we go. First couple turns here. Also very precise. Want to go as close as possible to the walls. We see SinasAppel doing it the best. You see how close he's going to every object right now. And this is exactly what you want, to squeeze out those thousands and hundreds, because that's maybe exactly what you need in some of those spicy situations where the players are just a few hundreds apart from each other. Then every piece of speed, every line that helps you to travel shorter distance is gonna matter. But SinasAppel has lost it right here, and so did Hunter. He is a little bit further back right now. The two Numalops players trailing behind the Venture player and the player for no team. But Hunter seemingly pressing B for boost. What is the speed by Hunter, going up to first place within a blink of an eye? Hunter up to first in just one corner, and that is absolutely fantastic to see. Dan is still not giving up yet. He is trying to make his best out of the situation, but I don't think he's going to be able to overtake, even though Dan is seemingly coming a little bit closer, but it's not going to be enough. 19 milliseconds between Hunter and Dan for P1. What a line by Hunter. Have you seen that? He has gotten 20-30 kilometers an hour more than his opposition in just one speed slide. That line certainly is superior if you nail it as well as Hunter does. As I said, he is the only keyboard player, so it's just impressive in itself how he's able to pull off these amazing high-quality SDs with his keyboard and is able to defeat all of those analog pad players right here. Hunter now up to 83 points. He's only 5 points behind Dan, so we might even see a position change here at some point. If Hunter is able to pull off another one of these insane, yeah, I would say Hunter's signature lines. Let's put the camera on him and see what he's actually gonna be able to pull off here in the next round of Tides of Time. And once again, Hunter, this speed, this is ridiculous. And there he goes, zoop, up to first, and Hunter is never to be seen again. SinasAppel on second. He is definitely gonna appreciate those 6 points. DarkBringer on third, Dan on fourth. And if the positions stay like this, then we are gonna actually have the aforementioned position change. DarkBringer dead! DarkBringer dead. And he is gonna yeet himself out of the track right there. He clipped. Went a bit too much left at that transition. And DarkBringer will instantly pay the price and get the DNF right here. Good for SinasAppel. With that, he's going to be able to close the gap. 9 points between fourth and third. And as I said, Hunter now the new leader of this match. He is up to first with 93. Dan 1 point behind. So we have this insane battle. And I am sure none of these players want to give up yet at this point. Let's go into the next round and see what's going to happen here. Dan having the upper hand, slightly different line by him, goes for a little bit of a longer line, but is able to stay in front. But here he goes for a very direct line. You can see that he's clearly oversteering, and that is going to allow DarkBringer to pass. You maybe don't want to pick that tight of a line, otherwise, as I said, you will find yourself slide a bit too much. Hunter, will he go for his signature line once again? Yeah, looks pretty good. He is definitely closing in and snacks on 2 drivers in 1 loop. And also here, Dan not with the greatest line. And Hunter going up to first place again. I would definitely call the police after this match. Hunter again with the overtake on 3 drivers in 1 spot. Unbelievable. Hunter is like Pac-Man. He's just eating all of those dots in 1 loop. This is insane. Hunter with the next 10 points. 105.8. Followed by Dan, DarkBringer, and SinasAppel. Absolutely fantastic driving by Hunter. And he's certainly benefiting from the fact that no one else is going for that line. Because I'm sure these players know that this line is existing. But it's maybe a bit too risky, too difficult to pull off. Of course, myself as a full-speed trash can player, I can't judge the difficulty of that line. But it seems like Hunter certainly does something that not everyone else is able to pull off at this point. Another round on this one. Dan off to a very good start together with SinasAppel. Hand in hand, they go through the wall right here. DarkBringer on third and Hunter is on last. He is struggling a lot with the beginning. But as per usual, he is most likely going to clock in here. Quite a good amount of extra speed. But I don't think this time around it is going to be enough. DarkBringer, very risky line. Almost thought he's going to hit the wall right there. But I think this one's going to be between Dan and SinasAppel. Very good opportunity for Dan to get back his first place on the scoreboard if he remains on that first place. And if Hunter also stays on the 4th place that he's currently at. And by the looks of the checkpoint times, this is indeed going to be the case. 105.53 by Dan. Even Hunter with his signature line would have had a hard time keeping up with that pace. Fantastic time by Dan. And he is back in the lead with 108 points. 106 for Hunter. And then we have a big gap now down to DarkBringer and SinasAppel. So what I said before about the 2 1v1 situations, let me put it that way, like it's really becoming clear at this point. So the victory in this TrackMania Open full speed competition most likely going to be played out between Dan and Hunter. and the bronze medal will be between DarkBringer and SinasAppel. But then again, anything can happen. Point limit is still quite far away. 140 points for those that are maybe just tuning in. 140 points plus finalist mode. Finalist mode meaning that you need to win another round to secure your position. And yeah, we're still quite a bunch of rounds away from that. Rexine also with the resub 9-month Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. I tip my imaginary Fullspeed hat. And with that being said, we're gonna go back onto the map by Brad Armpit, which is gonna be another exciting set of rounds being presented onto your monitors. Who is gonna take this one right here? Is it gonna be Dan? Is it gonna be Hunter? I am pretty sure it is gonna be between those two. Only 2 points after so many rounds, tearing those two players apart. They have been going back and forth. Sometimes it was Dan. Keep in mind, Dan had almost 20 points of an advantage, so he certainly lost it a bit. But he is still holding strong, and he has definitely what it needs to be the victorious player at the end of the day. GLHF, and we return on this map. First couple corners here, the crucial part coming up with the auto slide. We have SinasAppel, goes wide. Very good beginning for the Dutch player. This is exactly what he needs. But DarkBringer is in close pursuit. We have the two players in the back of the total scoreboard right now fighting it out for the 10-pointer. This is very nice to see. Dan and Hunter right now having no chance whatsoever. But maybe in the second half of the track, they are going to be able to close in. Let's take a look at Dan. What is he going to be able to pull off? Oh, DarkBringer clipping the wall exit on the inside. And that is a massive time loss right there for him. And also SinasAppel not with the greatest approach. He is going to suffer from speed loss as well. And that is the free ticket to P1 for Dan, who is going to take this with a big grin on his face. He is going to be like, yo, dankeschön, thanks for the first place. And I don't think he's going to let that one slip through his hands. SinasAppel still remains on the second place though. Hunter on third and DarkBringer on fourth. Fantastic time by Dan. Look at that. 1:06.465. Really, really fast. $118 for Dan, 110 for Hunter. Oh, a clip by Dan in the first drop. What has happened there, ladies and gentlemen? That is a rare mistake to see right here. That is a big setback for Dan. Lucky for him that he didn't lose more time, but he definitely has some catch up to do here. Finding himself a whopping 0.2 behind at this point. Let's switch to the front. We have Hunter, SinasAppel, and DarkBringer very close to each other. The two normal ops players right now dominating DarkBringer, who has no team to represent at this point. After recently having returned to TrackMania, he is instantly here to go for some rumble and to cause some damage. Let's take a look what he's going to do. Looking like a good approach for DarkBringer, trying to close in a little bit to SinasAppel. Very similar exit speed out of this part. Hunter very inside line, almost clipping the wall on the inside. But Hunter remains in the lead and DarkBringer has passed SinasAppel in the wall. Is that going to be enough for Hunter? DarkBringer is closing in. Very close. 37 milliseconds and really good times. Again, at the front. Oh, where did SinasAppel go? SinasAppel taking the bonus finish, which I didn't actually know that it exists, so that's nice. But he apparently died somewhere near the end. And that is going to be a big setback for him. He had the chance to win 6 points. But now it is only going to be 3. So the points are cut in half. Dan with 122, Hunter with 120. So that was a good round for Hunter this time around. Oh my lord. What is this match up front? Loving it. I am loving it right here. Dan right now on last. He has been going for a wider approach. Small SD at the exit before the wall. Wasn't able to capitalize on it, but here is now where he's trying to attack. And he goes for it. Very inside line. Snacks in on the two normal ops players and also DarkBringer, his next target. Dan is like, beep, 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 beep. He's aiming for the next target, and he got it. He got it. Dan is up to the front, but Hunter is not going to let that one happen. Oh, Hunter clips. Hunter clips at the exit. And that will leave us alone with Dan and DarkBringer, who's going to have the upper hand. This is going to be super close, coming down to the last wall. We're almost having a neck-and-neck situation, but it looks like Dan has a bit more speed. DarkBringer trying to make something happen, but it was not enough. And also SinasAppel was lurking in the shadows. He was right behind and was almost able to snack onto some points, but it was not quite enough there. Dan with 10, DarkBringer with 6, SinasAppel with 4, and Hunter with 3. Best case scenario for Dan. And he's now up to 132 points. This could be the round where he qualifies for finalist mode if he wins this round. Dan needs a first place and he will be finalist. And if he gets finalist, then he is going to have at least 2 rounds where he can... Well, choke sounds hard, but he can make mistakes and not be in danger. And right now, it doesn't look like this is actually going to be the case. It is Dan, dead last. Trailing 1300s behind. But this line was very well executed by Dan. Really, really good line. Look at this. He is trying his best to make something happen. And, oh, clip. And that could potentially ruin his chances of qualifying into the finalist mode right here. So it will be played out between Hunter, DarkBringer, and SinasAppel, even though the gaps between the players are quite big. DarkBringer trying to actually make something happen. Look at this. DarkBringer actually has a bit more speed here. 2 car lengths at most between these players, and I think DarkBringer actually has carried a bit more speed through the party, and DarkBringer is trying to go for an overtake right here just in front of the finish line. It is DarkBringer that is actually going to stay ahead by 0.04 of a second. Great comeback by DarkBringer. 10 important points. And DarkBringer will cross the 100-point barrier right here. 103 points for him. And SinasAppel will stay there at 87. And this map certainly hasn't been looking good for SinasAppel either. So,
Moin.
Not sure what he is gonna think of right now. What is gonna be his mindset? Is he just gonna go all in or just play it out and hope for mistakes? SinasAppel with 87. And going onto this map with quite a big gap up to DarkBringer. This is going to be a hard one for SinasAppel if he still wants to have a chance at the bronze medal in this competition. Dan with 135. He needs first or second place to become a finalist. A third place would get him to the 139 slap in the face situation. Hunter with 129 could also receive the slap in the face if he gets first this time. So potentially 2 139 point players after this round, which would make up for a very anticlimactic following round, because it would matter, or it would rather mean that it's only going to be about finishing in the next round for both Dan and Hunter, because that would be the only thing they would need to become a finalist. And Der Fugen with the resub. Vielen Dank. Thank you very much. That is very kind. So, here is where a decision could possibly be made. On this map, it could happen. Chances are very high. So let's take a look at what's going to happen after the warm-up. On the map by Hunter, will he feel home? Or will he crumble under the pressure that is being put onto his shoulders? 139 against 129. Here we go. DarkBringer. Oh, a little clip right there. That could have gone worse. So the speed loss isn't that big for DarkBringer, but still not the greatest line here by him. Not the greatest beginning for the German player. Let's go into the front. Hunter on first and Dan on second. With this, we're going to have Dan as a finalist and Hunter with 139. But Dan passes Hunter as we speak, as we talk about that possibility. And that was a really well executed part by Dan. Gets a nice flat landing in that ramp as well. And with that, he's going to be able to extend his lead even further. 0.15 of a second against Hunter. DarkBringer is not going to be able to do any sort of damage in this round. He is trying his best, and he is on a moderately good pace, but it's not enough to keep up with Dan and Hunter, who are certainly dominating this match. Dan finishes with a 57.97, and with that, he is going to qualify as a finalist. This is going to be his first chance at winning this competition. Dan, finalist. Hunter with 135, similar to Dan in the previous round, needs first or second place. And in the best case, also have Dan denied at the same time. If he still... Oh my god, and that is actually SinasAppel, who has to restart from the start. Leaving us with 3 players alone. The 3 Germans now going to fight it out. Dan on first, DarkBringer on second, Hunter... No, never mind, Hunter up to second. Dan maybe not with the greatest speed. Oh yeah, he clipped, and I think that is going to be a great chance for Hunter. As you can see, Dan with the speed loss, and Hunter will pass Dan. This is the best case scenario for Hunter. He needs to stay up to that position now. Very risky loop entry, almost left the wall on the left side. Very, very risky stuff by Hunter, but he is extending his lead. He is 0.2 ahead, and it looks like Hunter is going to qualify himself as a finalist as well, unless a massive blunder happens at the end of the track. But I don't think Hunter is going to let that slip through his hands. One final wall and the finish jump remaining. Hunter is experienced enough to not die right here, and it's a 58.02 by Hunter, which is going to qualify him for the finalist mode as well. Double finalist situation between Hunter and Dan in this competition. It couldn't have gotten more exciting than this. Lovely full speed driving right here by the 2 Germans. Who is going to take this one home? Or will DarkBringer or SinasAppel maybe deny one of these players from time to time? Let's take a look. DarkBringer with 111, still quite far away, so I don't think he is going to play a crucial role here, at least not on this map. But let's take a look. The man to take a look on are going to be Hunter and Dan. Let's take a look at this round right here. Hunter and Dan off to the greatest starts. DarkBringer and SinasAppel a little bit behind, so this is already crystallizing a bit right here. Dan with a very aggressive inside line. Is this one going to pay off this time around? He got it very nicely, and Hunter is struggling to hit the optimal line. Hunter is dead last right now, and he is not having the advantage right here whatsoever. He is going up to 3rd place, but he has no speed whatsoever. Is this the end for this competition already? Or will DarkBringer or maybe Dan make a mistake? Let's take a look here. Into the second half of the track we go. Dan has a 2900. Oh my god, this line was trash. This line was not good by Dan whatsoever. Will this be enough for DarkBringer to pass? Dan has gotten a little of airtime right there, and you can clearly see how much DarkBringer is catching up, but the track is not long enough, and Dan will win with a 58.34. Dan will win the TrackMania Open Fullspeed 2019. That was a very wonky second half right there. He could have gotten punished for this very, very badly, because that was a big time loss right there by Dan. But lucky for him that none of the others were actually remotely close to him, which meant that he could take it with ease despite that mistake in his line. Hunter, with his second finalist attempt now, could very well close it out right here at this point. What is going to happen in this round? Hunter, in the previous round, was not able to get this part very well. Here is where he lost everything. But this time around, he got it incredibly nicely and is able to pull away really, really well from DarkBringer. SinasAppel also nowhere to be seen here. He is not having the pace on this map still. So this is just simply not his favorite. But we have Numelops Hunter from Germany, who is about to take the silver medal in this competition. Only a few corners remaining for him, and he is gonna be welcomed with the second placement here. One final wall. And there he goes. Numelops Hunter, silver medal, 57.87. That is a new local one. And with that, he is going to end it in style. This time should have come in the previous round. I'm not sure if he's going to be mad about this, because he knows exactly that this time would have been enough to win the competition if he did it one round earlier. So that is maybe a bit of an upset for Hunter, knowing that he had it in the pocket. He certainly had the the speed, the pace. He definitely had it. But yeah, that's how it is in TrackMania. Sometimes it is just not enough, and we're gonna be playing it out for the 3rd place here as well between DarkBringer and SinasAppel. 123 for DarkBringer and 100 flat for SinasAppel as we go into ties of time for one final time. The players also want to play it out. That is a positive mindset. That's what I like. DarkBringer warming up the tires. Very important. Doing the zigzag. Similar to real-life motorsport. Also in TrackMania, you need to do this. Obviously. Otherwise, you will have bad tires. And SinasAppel standing at the start block. Taking a zip. Discussing with the Numelops CEO what to do. And we're going to be continuing this match for the bronze medal in this competition. Alright, and off we go. DarkBringer 123, SinasAppel with 100 points flat. Looking very promising for DarkBringer. But on this map, I think SinasAppel can certainly make up for a good surprise. You gotta keep in mind... Oh my god, DarkBringer out! So, yeah, this is gonna give us a little bit more time to talk about what I wanted to say. And it is the fact that now that we only have 2 players... we're only gonna have 10 and 6 points being distributed to the players. So that means we're gonna end this very fast. And especially a DNF in this situation is gonna be very costly. So it's actually kind of cool that DarkBringer has actually DNF'd at this point. Because that way I am able to properly demonstrate what kind of effect a DNF is gonna have in this situation. So shoutouts to DarkBringer at this point. So, yeah, SinasAppel is gonna win 10 whole points in 1 round just because of DarkBringer's DNF. So DNFs are really, really bad. Like, in this situation, you don't want to DNF at all. But that's easier said than done on Fullspeed, where the tiniest mistake is gonna throw you out of the universe. SinasAppel up to 110, DarkBringer stays at 123. Alright, so we're taking it off right here. SinasAppel has been very, very good at the starts. Always in the lead. Going for those direct lines, close to the walls everywhere. And here is where a small difference is being made already. And he keeps up the lead. 1500s between SinasAppel and DarkBringer. Not looking very good for DarkBringer at this point, as he is seemingly unable to come any closer to the Dutch player at this point. Very similar lines here. 1500ths of a second between the 2 players. Who is going to go for the Hunter line? Anyone going to go for it? I think they tried. Not too shabby of an execution for both SinasAppel and DarkBringer. But I think DarkBringer might have carried a bit more speed through this part. And indeed, he is closing in. But I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. DarkBringer will have that extra patch of momentum. And he is actually coming dangerously close to SinasAppel. This is going to be very exciting at the end. Is DarkBringer potentially going to go for the overtake? I don't think this is going to be enough here. Up the finish ramp we go. And DarkBringer has almost gotten it though. SinasAppel has been chased down. Only to a 600 advantage. So that was a good effort by DarkBringer. But it was not enough. SinasAppel holding up strong. 129 to 120. So the gap that was 20 points plus is now only 9 points. This is how quick it can go. SinasAppel certainly still having a chance at actually getting the bronze medal here. After seeing him being down by so much and not being up to pace on map 3, this is very nice to see that SinasAppel is not giving up. That is very nice to see. Good mindset by the Dutch player. And he continues to dominate going into the next round. SinasAppel in the lead again, showing what he got in the start. DarkBringer with that direct line is able to come a bit closer and actually even went for the overtake, which is to my surprise, since normally that line is going to cost you a little bit of speed, but DarkBringer must have gotten it very nicely. And with that, he is going to go up into the lead. SDs to the left, to the right, up the loop we go. SinasAppel staying a little bit higher on that wall. And he has a bit more speed actually. SinasAppel attacking DarkBringer right now. Germany versus the Netherlands right here. And it is SinasAppel that actually passes DarkBringer right here. We have a neck and neck situation once again in this round. Who's going to have the upper hand at the ending? I think it's going to be SinasAppel. DarkBringer maybe with a bit more speed, but it's not enough. 13 milliseconds between DarkBringer and SinasAppel. This is fantastic. Great racing right there by these 2 players. Even if it's just for the bronze medal, just in quotes, of course. They are giving it all right here. Loving it. 139 for DarkBringer, 126 for SinasAppel. DarkBringer only needs to finish in order to become a finalist. And we see the similar picture again. Numlops, SinasAppel in the lead. DarkBringer trailing in the back. A very good beginning by SinasAppel. He might even be ahead of the local splits right now. And here is where we see the different approaches. DarkBringer with a slight advantage, just ever so slightly, but every tiny bit of speed is going to translate into more speed as soon as you get into some sort of SD. And it looks like DarkBringer is actually capitalizing on exactly that. And he is trying to deny SinasAppel the points, because even if he just needs to finish, it is of course beneficial for DarkBringer to deny SinasAppel the 10 points. But right now it simply doesn't look like it, since SinasAppel is a tiny tad ahead. Oh, but he's closing in. DarkBringer might have a bit more speed this time around. Once again, it's coming really close to the end. Who's gonna take it? It is SinasAppel. 4 thousandths ahead. What are we seeing here, ladies and gentlemen? Holy moly, that is absolutely insane. They are giving it all right there, and SinasAppel has been a bit more right. Like, he was a bit more right entering the finish, which means that he had the shorter line and was able to reach the finish just a bit earlier than DarkBringer, even though DarkBringer had more speed. So, great IQ by SinasAppel. Not sure if he was aware of that in first place, but anyway, good IQ. And this is crazy right here. If DarkBringer gets denied now, we're going to have double finalists for P3 of this TrackMania Open Fullspeed 2019. And for the last time, we're going to have 2 more rounds at most. It is going to be decided in the upcoming round or in the upcoming round. It is going to be do or die between these two players. Lovely back and forth so far. Both of them on an equal level. And as I said earlier, even with SinasAppel being so far behind, he never gave up at any point. And that is very respectable. So one final warm-up once again. Gotta play it through. Ah, here's the bonus finish. I didn't even, like, know where it is. That's comfortable to know. Alright. This is gonna be a very exciting battle coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight for the bronze medal. Here we go. SinasAppel gaining an early lead in the beginning. He is always the one that goes for very tight starts. And it seemingly helped him a lot. Right here, also super close to the inside. Look at him go. And that will allow him to gain more than a whole 10th over his direct opponent, DarkBringer. Right now, we have this 1v1 situation. And SinasAppel is a whole 1400th of a second ahead at this point already. Going into this wall, where both get a very similar trajectory. I think SinasAppel clipped a little bit. A little tiny bit. Yes, indeed. And that will allow DarkBringer to come a little bit closer now. Oof. Almost hit the top thing right there. Entering the wall. Risky stuff by DarkBringer. But the gap is remaining roughly the same between those two players. Is SinasAppel gonna deny DarkBringer? Keep in mind, DarkBringer is a finalist, but he's trying to close in now. Very well executed line by DarkBringer. Gets the superior SD and passes SinasAppel in this corner. But SinasAppel might have a bit more speed coming down to the ending now. SinasAppel with the overtake as we go up. And this might be the denying round right here. SinasAppel will take it and he denies DarkBringer right here. Double finalist situation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. SinasAppel has recovered really nicely from that small mistake that he did there. And this is gonna be the final round right here. SinasAppel versus DarkBringer for that 3rd place in this competition. Who is gonna take this one home? The pressure is at its peak right now for both of these players. SinasAppel, once again, the advantage in the beginning. This is looking very, very strong here. He is showing no sign of pressure whatsoever. But neither does DarkBringer. Neither does DarkBringer. What is he gonna be able to pull into the asphalt right here? 1800ths of a second. This is quite a big gap at this point already. Is SinasAppel gonna take this one home, or will DarkBringer come closer? Right now, it looks like SinasAppel has a very comfortable pace to work with. The gap has increased even further. 2200ths now for SinasAppel. Will this be P3 for the Dutch player for Team Nomelops? Or is he gonna throw that away? Coming down to the last portion of the track. This is looking very, very good for him. One SD to the right, up the loop, and then one final wall. I don't think DarkBringer is gonna be able to overtake, even though DarkBringer actually has a bit more speed, but I don't think there's gonna be up for an overtake right here. No! SinasAppel gets third in the TrackMania Open Fullspeed Cup 2019 and defeats the Fullspeed prodigy DarkBringer and shows him where he's at. DarkBringer gets fourth, and SinasAppel being very, very happy about the fact that the third place is actually being played out. So here are the results. Dan wins in front of Hunter, SinasAppel, and DarkBringer. GG.